like plugging Goodreads a tiny bit. It has, it is a little different than some of the other book networking sites in that authors really do feel active on it. And there's a wide array of different kinds of authors, which is part of the reason why I wanted to bring Otis here. Because I think a lot of people are interested in not just the big paperbacks that are coming out. So, all right, I'm going to work back down the line. To what degree will the larger review venues, whether in print or online, retain their authority? Some, not all. Can we expect a total transformation of the present geography? That's for you.
So, I think what is transforming, we could all say for sure, is the way content is being distributed and read. More and more people are reading content online and not in magazines and newspapers, and they're reading blogs, and they're reading user-generated content. So how does that affect how people who are used to having, as you said, an authority? I think if those people start to figure out and stay with the new methods of distribution, I think they can absolutely retain their authority. But I think they're going to really have to try to do so. And what does that mean? That means creating themselves as a brand instead of creating, oh, I just write for the New York Times. I have to have a blog where people know me by name and read that blog. And I have to distribute anything I blog through Facebook and Twitter and collect followings, fans there. And also on Goodreads, I have to mention, so one feature we just launched 2 days ago, which should really be an interesting and helpful feature for this kind of a problem, is the ability to follow anybody. So previously we'd only had friends, which were a two-way relationship. You could have friends. But if you're a sort of, say you write for the Publishers Weekly and you're known as a good book reviewer, you're not going to want to add everybody as a friend who requests you. That might be thousands of people, and that site is not useful for you, and it's too much work for you, etc. So Twitter has really done this very successfully. They've identified that people who are more popular than other people need to be followed more. It's kind of an asymmetrical relationship, and it allows those people to gain a following and to gain the respect that they deserve for whatever content they're producing. And so I'm really excited about this feature because I think it's going to let the book reviewers, and whether they work, for a big publication or whether they're just an indie bookstore clerk blogger, gain the respect they deserve and get the following and get their reviews in front of more people. So I'm excited about that.
Well, the interesting question is about authority. What is authority? And I think that's one of the main things that has changed with bloggers, with the internet, is people who were not given authority before were given a voice, and the audience, the readers, the audience members, anyone online, basically, they were the ones who chose, or starting to choose increasingly, who has authority and who doesn't. So whereas before it was sort of more of a gated community of who had authority and who could publish, when those sort of doors were blown open wide, the who had authority changed. And I think that is a constantly changing landscape. And for those who've had it before, certainly there's many print publications, traditional print publications, who are doing very well online and are adapting very well to the new landscape. And so I think it's going to be a mix. I don't think you're going to see sort of all of the brands, because there are many great brands and writers and newspapers and so forth who are trusted and have trusted followings. And I think that's going to continue as long as they learn some of the new technology, some of the new platforms. But when it comes back to authority, that's really going to be up to a large degree the readership that's out there that is going to choose who to follow, whether it be on Goodreads or on Twitter or wherever it is. The gates are sort of opened wide a little bit more, and there's going to be a period where that shifts, I think.
I'd like to address what Otis and then talk about what Peter said too, said about Twitter, because probably not everyone in this room, knows what it is. You might all know what it is, but a lot of you aren't on it or don't have any use for it. And what Otis said about Twitter helping people find, a voice and authority, it's not your tweet that gives you your authority. It's not simply because in 140 characters. There's some wonderful Twitterers out there who are able to do poetry at 140 characters, but really it's what you're linking to, it's what you're retweeting, it's what you're saying on a blog or on a website, and sometimes that website is a newspaper's website. So I do think that there's a real collaboration going on. A friend before this meeting compared it to when you're looking for a great place to go and eat, you go to Dining Out in the New York Times, you also go to Zagat's. These things can coexist. And so Twitter is simply a tool. Twitter is not an endpoint. We're not going to end up seeing, book reviews being reduced to Twitter, even though you can actually review a book on Twitter if you want to. But authority is something that I think it's very important for us to talk about, because after all, who gave the authority to the original, who was the first book review editor, in the world, that sort of thing. We have to talk about this. We have to continue to have a dialogue about it instead of pretending that editors come out of thin air. So I do think that there's going to be a shift, but not a total shift. It's all going to be part of it.